In the custody battle now for Bowens' 6-year-old son, a CPS caseworker testified, quote, Bowens is not emotionally ready to take the kids. Now that's when CPS first became involved with the family, taking custody of Maleah and her 2 brothers for about 6 months. First became involved.
The gag order, the actual documentation issued by Lopez on May 10th, and the fact that this documentation itself, when we take a look at it, shows basically it's telling us that there's been a history since 2016. If you watch the previous interview I did with Derion Vence's father, Joe Vence, he stated that there was a history with CPS.
Like I said, they have previous history with CPS. That's one of the things she's hiding.
CPS thing, because I mean, there's very little information, but I saw one, I think that was from 2018. Was there more things that have happened previously, you're saying, or is that the only thing?
Yeah, before he was even involved with her.
Judge Gloria Lopez, seen here on the district court webpage, was widely criticized after the 4-year-old was returned home to her mother, Brittany Bowens, and her mother's fiancé, Derion Vence, last February.
Hey, it's Mel, and I have several updates regarding this custody battle situation with Maleah Davis's older brother, 6-year-old, between Brittany Bowens, Craig Davis, and Brittany's mother's involved, Brenda Bowens. And it's kind of an interesting dynamic given the history.
In this court proceeding, Maleah's biological father, Craig Davis Jr., Maleah's mom, and maternal grandmom, Brenda Bowens, are all seeking custody of Maleah's older brother.
This is from Fox. According to testimony, Brittany Bowens, who has undergone extensive psychological assessments at the request of CPS, is in counseling and is asking for her mother, Brenda Bowens, to get custody of the 6-year-old.
Bowens is asking for her son to be placed with her mother, Brenda Bowens.
Now, there was a CPS case worker that testified Bowens is not emotionally ready to take the kids, which that's a pretty big thing. So Bowens, that hasn't had custody of the sons, the youngest and the oldest, since Maleah's passing and Derion was charged, is asking for her mother, Brenda Bowens, to be given custody. But Craig Davis is stepping in and wants custody too.
But the boy's biological father, Craig Davis Jr., is seeking custody.
To be clear, we're talking about the oldest son. The youngest son is between Brittany and Derion, which Darion's mother, from what I've read, has custody of the youngest son.
Brittany Bowens' younger son that she has with Derion Vence stays with Vence's mother.
So the oldest son, the 6-year-old, is a child between Brittany and Craig. So let's talk about the attorney's arguments, the court's arguments for each side. What are they arguing? Well, Brittany's side, they're stating that Craig tested positive last year for Mary J, and they're stating that he hasn't been consistently paying child support. So they're making that argument for him not getting custody. Now, Craig's side, his attorney's name is Julie Ketterman, and she stated that he's currently testing negative. And this is like the biggest one to me. This is kind of like the nail in the coffin, the argument that they made here, which is a good argument. Okay, Maleah Davis suffered her traumatic head injury, okay, in 2018, where she had to have a portion of her skull removed, right? If you've been following the story, remember that. She was living with, okay, Brittany Bowens, Derion Vence, and they were living in her mother's home, which is Brenda Bowens. And who else was there living? The brothers, the boys, all right? Which is what this custody case is about, the oldest one. So that right there to me is almost like the nail in the coffin.
She had to have a portion of her skull removed during the time she, her mom, and Derion Vence lived with the maternal grandmother.
The interesting thing about Texas is that custody battles can be decided by a judge or a jury. And I think that's kind of dope. It's interesting, but it can, I don't know, because you hear judges that they have this like bias towards mothers. So a jury might be a better chance for a father. The thing is, too, is I don't know what other stuff Craig has. If there's other stuff, it's also really hard to tell the outcome with a jury, right? It's really unpredictable. And I'm sure there's a lot of elements to this that we don't know. But I would find it hard to believe that they would actually return the child back to Brittany or Brenda. To me, it would be kind of wild just to think of the circumstances that children in their custody have already been through. It would be wild to me. But then the question is, are they going to give this to Craig? I don't know, because I don't know his history, you know, and could this backfire? Could CPS just keep the brother, the older child? I highly recommend you check out this video, CPS Secrets, looking back to 2016. And I'm also going to recommend you the Maleah Davis playlist if you want to go back and check it on any part of the story on the pretty extensive list that I have. Thanks, take care. Comment down below. Let me know how you feel about this. Where do you believe custody should go with this child of the 6-year-old? Where should it go? Should it go to Brittany's mother? Should it go to Craig? Should it go to CPS or another extended family member?